What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and today I'm going to run you guys through the research that I do for these videos so that you get 100% transparency in what I'm doing. And when I say researching for website ranking, what that means is I'm researching for the ranking of these websites related to all the Democratic candidates. So each candidate has their own campaign website. And we're going to take those and stack rank them against each other along a couple different parameters. So we're going to work through the analysis in that way. But why would a website be important to rank? Like, what's the point? Like, why do we fucking give a shit, right, Sam? So I'm going to talk about that, and then overall, like, just why we're doing this. Like the macro view, like why the fuck are you doing this, Sam? So we're going to talk about that, and if you want to follow on, this is going to be a very long video, so don't forget to stay hydrated. And for those of you here for the first time, what's good? My name is Sam, and those of you who are returning viewers, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, so now, with that being said, let's get into this. So why are we doing this? I think, to sum it up in one word, there's a large paradigm shift happening in that the things that we've done for the past, several decades or century, there's a lot, things have changed a lot. And I think that there's better ways of gathering information or understanding the world around us. And when I look at that and you compare it to, say, polling data, for example, what we see over here backed up by data around millions and millions of different data points versus polling data that has several hundred, maybe several thousand, and the method of polling creates biases in the results just there, and the questioning too. We're not even going to go into any of that, but some reason they don't match up, right? The polling numbers don't match up to our rank, what I'm seeing online. So I thought, what better way to create a new idea of how things might be done better? And you can let me know, Sam, you're fucking full of yourself. But I think I just present the information, and you can decide whatever you want. You're like, Sam, you're a retard. Like, this other way of doing it has worked for the past 100 years. Why the fuck wouldn't it work for the next 100 years? Cool. Like, nothing wrong with that. But I think this message is so far in the corner in terms of awareness in general that it needs to be exposed just to have a tiny bit of thought and consideration around what is happening here, because I think it's going to have tremendous effects both in terms of the election but also how you can analyze different things going into the future. So why use a website, right? Oh, actually, real quick, what I'm doing is the power ranking, and so this is factor number 3. We see right here the website we're going to rank. We did the YouTube search yesterday morning, then the Google search the day before, and what's coming up is several more around social and their donations. So make sure you subscribe if you want to follow along that, and I do the same type of analysis for all of those videos. Why the website? Okay, so some of these things, right, like the YouTube search, Google search, and some of these other factors, we're trying to capture what's America's interest is in, right? Like, where's their awareness going to? And because you can't do anything with people you don't have their interest of, right? Like, it's really hard to get the person in front of you to move over, you know what I mean, if you're trying to pass someone, especially if they don't know. So we're trying to understand by looking back, they're coming up quick, you know what I mean, maybe we should move over. We're trying to understand the data with this. And what the website represents is a piece of real estate on the internet that people have to actively go to find this information. And they want more information than just the headline reading of articles of Democratic candidate, blah, 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 or this, that, and the other thing. They have to have an active interest in going to their website. So I think it is a great factor of relevance in this analysis to see that there's the U.S. ranking of their websites and stack rank them to get an understanding of which candidates are most popular from the US, right? Like, don't you want to know who's actually the most popular, not based upon like several hundred people saying like their opinion about something? Like, just go to the source, see what the rankings are. I mean, it's pretty that simple. It's that simple. So let's get into the analysis. So what we've got pulled up here, this could be a pretty long video. This is exactly how I do the analysis. Okay, so what we've got here is a shitload of tabs open. I don't know if you can see that on the camera here. Yes, I think you can. Okay, so we've got a shitload of, and I apologize if my head covers up any of the shot at any point as we're running through this, but we've got Alexa.com, and we've pulled up Pete. So this is for Pete Buttigieg, Buttigieg or whatever his name is, but his site is Pete for America. So we come down here, and we're going to look at 3 different metrics here. We're going to look at their ranking here in the U.S., right? This is their global ranking, and you can see the trend down and to the right for Pete, so that is not super great. That's not something you want to see. You want to see up and to the right, so super not awesome over the last 90 days on the global scale. Within the U.S., we don't get to see that data because I didn't pay for anything, but if anybody wants to pay for it and share their like ability to see other analytics with me, let me know. That would be cool. Also, if you guys want to get this message out to other people, like if you know anybody who's in the media or has a blog or a podcast or something who would be interested in talking about this kind of stuff, I would like to talk to more people about this kind of stuff. So if you know of anybody, share my info or channel with them or Instagram or something, and like have them reach out, because that would be awesome to get this in front of more people and talk to more people about it instead of just talking to myself all the time. And you guys who are awesome and leave fucking comments, so thank you. Anyways, okay, so we got 14,000. So let's grab this number. We're going to Control C. And what we're going to do, I have this spreadsheet pulled up. So this is what we're going to take a look at, right? We're going to take a look at the page views, the time on the site, and the popularity of each one of these candidates. So right now we're looking at U.S. popularity, and we're looking at Pete. So he's got 14. Now let's go over here. The time on the site is 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 1 second. So let's put that over there. And the last thing here is the page views. Why do we look at these factors? Because, whoops. That's what I fucking said, son. That's why. No, because the higher number of page views a site has, the more relevant it is. That's the logic I'm using, because if somebody's like going to click around to multiple different links on a site versus just come to one, like, I mean, it just seems like one is more impactful about understanding what's happening. So that's why we choose the page views as one of the factors that we take a look at. And then similarly with time, like if you don't have anybody's time, right, then how the fuck are you supposed to impact them? You can't. So that's why we use time here, because I think the more time somebody has of somebody else's, the easier it is to influence them. And that's why we're using that. As you can see, I'm just going through and grabbing these data points, right? I'm not really taking a ton of effort to really dig into anything else at this point, other than literally just trying to capture the data so that we can take a look at it. So anybody who has watched any of my other videos, like there might be like several hours of me just going through and gathering the data so that I can take a look at it and understand, or at least try to put something into perspective to see what's going on. Or you go through like this and you lose track of what you're doing and which number you've copied. So, or you look at the wrong thing. I did an entire analysis yesterday. The video that came out this morning on YouTube, search volume, and I used web, meaning google.com search volume instead. I got through like 87% of all the analysis, and then it was like, fuck. I just grabbed all of the wrong data. So I had to redo the entire analysis. And this was like 11:30 last night. I was like, fuck. I think I grabbed it. So if you can see right here, it looks like I grabbed the wrong data point for Amy. So let's go back and just double check hers, because it just seems like, holy no, damn. So this is like when I'll stop, like when I notice like anomalies in the data, and then I get distracted. But if you see, We've got, right, all below about 20 here in terms of U.S. popularity. And then we have fucking Amy, and she's like out in the fucking stratosphere. This is their U.S. popularity of the website. So we've got Andrew Yang here up at the top, and then Bernie Sanders is up here pretty close, and then we have her ranked at 76,311th. Like, that's an insanely unpopular website compared to these other players that we're taking a look. So those are the things that I'll stop for, or that I'll notice. If I notice like things that are strange, is this the wrong person? And then I'll get distracted, right? So now I'm on Amy's, and I'm copying Amy's information into Bernie Sanders. So there, and then afterwards, just to show the thoroughness of what I'm doing, I'm not going to do this in this video because I think it will drag on and even longer. But what I'll do is I'll capture all the data, and because I want to make sure that it's correct, I go back through every single one of these and double check it. Because there's no sense in doing this if you're not going to take the rigor to really make sure that you took the time to capture the data correctly. So we'll see how quickly I get through this stuff, but I really don't like to... I'm trying to be as accurate as possible, so I'm trying to capture the most accurate data as possible, and that means taking the extra amount of time needed to go back through and double check all the numbers to make sure, and like a lot of times I'll even refresh the pages just if it's happenstance like the numbers have updated since I like put them in the first time, because I'm just trying to be as accurate as freaking possible when I go through this stuff. So at this point we're up to number 7, right? Cory Booker here, and you can kind of like get just snapshots of like the data, but you see page views right there. Why the fuck is this not copying? Come on, bro, let's go. What the fuck is happening? And then you do weird shit, and I don't understand why copy and paste don't work. Alright, let's get this done. So if you look at the page views right there, you can see Andrew Yang's actually the highest on page views and the highest on the amount of time. Just saying, Andy is the lowest ranking. The lowest meaning good. Higher is bad. In this situation. Okay, so who was this? Cory Booker was the last person we did. And there's just a lot of this toggling back and forth of like keeping track of what I'm looking at. It would be nice to actually have a website there where this information could actually just be pulled from into, and I'll create like the analysis or tell whatever needs to be like developer on how to create something like this, but this would be, I feel like, a very valuable tool for some people to use. Damn it, I keep fucking shut up. There we go. Oh, wow, look at this. Who is this? Who is this we're looking at? We're looking at Elizabeth Warren. She has pretty good numbers here. Like, if you're looking at these, she's got pretty, look at that, 3 page views. She's got a pretty high amount of time people spend on their site. Like, it looks like second highest. And she's got a nice, she's the second most popular site out there, so nice job. And she's up and to the right, so this is like what you want to see. This is why this stuff takes me so long, because I get distracted. Because hers is up and to the right on the global scale, except for, you know, over, let's see, the past like 2.5 weeks, she's kind of trended flat or down slightly. Let's go to Beto O'Rourke. And wait to see the ranking of the last person, Julian. So I pulled his site up, and then I had to open it. Whoops. I had to open it twice just to make sure it was the correct site, because that's how bad it was in terms of the ranking. It was insane. I was surprised at how poorly it ranked. I had a question earlier today from somebody who wanted to know if I supported Andrew Yang. First of all, awesome question. Maybe this is what I'll do while I do the analysis. I'll answer questions at the same time if it's not too challenging for me to do 2 things at once. But I support somebody who has a, look at this fucking ranking. Holy fuck. Nobody's going to this dude's fucking website at all, which I can, let me show you something real quick. If you take Julian Castro, okay, let's go like Google his name, Julian Castro website. Let's Google his fucking name. So he's not advertising, at least when you search it like this. And I think one other time I did search it. I'm going to try to refresh it. And an ad did come up, and he was not driving traffic to his website. He was driving it to a donations page, which just like blows my mind. To like, why would you send somebody else, like pay for traffic to go somewhere else? It could have been like a super PAC or something. I don't know. But this is why it takes so long. Okay. So, but what is kind of interesting is that when people do find his site, they spend a shitload of time there. He has the most amount of time, which is kind of interesting because if you watch the YouTube video of the YouTube rankings in terms of the search volume, that was really good, and it talked about how I actually saw his spot moved up, I think, in the Google rankings and in the YouTube rankings, and then we see that there's a lot of people spending time on his page. Let's take a look over here. And it has been getting step-ups. Like, look at this huge, this is very abnormal to see this action here, these giant step-ups in terms of popularity. However, I think it could say one of two things, I think. First is maybe Alexa only has, this is the website we're on, only gathers data so often, or when it sees something that's strange and updates it. I'm not sure if that's the case, or he's getting a substantial amount of awareness, because if we look, this period right here was right around, let's see, this was around, just seeing if they were around the debates. No, yeah, this one was around the debate here, this increase in popularity. But his fucking site is just like in a stratosphere more. Look at these ones on a global basis. Who is this? Cory Booker. But still, that's just insane. Okay, so let's go through and rank these. So we're going to go through page views right now. So I always look for the top. So we've got 1 here, 2, 3, 3. What's after that one, right? Oh, actually, these are both 4s. 4, and then you just go through and make mistakes like this throughout the whole entire thing. All right. Okay. So what's so 4 and then 5. Let's see, 6. It looks like this. This is a tie between 7. This is 8. Fuck! I fucked it up again. So this is 6. Then this just happens perpetually as I go through this stuff. I literally just go through and perpetually make mistakes like this. So it does look like this would be 6 and this would be 7, which means that this would be 8. Oops. This would be 8 here, tied with 8 here. And this should be 10, I think. Let's see. This is first, second, third. Okay, so this is 4th, this is 4th, so this is actually 5th. Now 6 is 1.9, so this is 7th is tied with that. 8th is this, 9th is the, so that was 9th, this is 10th. Okay, perfect. So that's why I'll go through and actually just double check everything just like that. Now we'll go through with the time on the site. We'll start down here. He is number 1. Congratulations. Number 2, and as you can see, the numbers on the side over there are increasing as or changing as I put in data, because I have it already programmed to do that for me. So it's just the if you look up here, I'm just doing the average of these. It's 20% for the page views, 20% for time, and 80 or 60% for the popularity, because I think the popularity just carries a lot more weight. Yes, it's awesome. People are spending more time on your site, Julian Castro here, but nobody's on your fucking site, right? You're ranked 140,812. Like, that's just not fucking relevant. At least your website is not relevant. It's more accurate way of saying that. So 2, this is 6. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this the first try. So 6, this is 7, 8, 9, 10. So Cory Booker's just not doing what's up. So we've got Yang as 1. 2 is Elizabeth Warren. 3 is Bernie Sanders. What do we got next? Well, we know this is 10. This is 9, 8. This 7 is here. 6 is here. 5, and then 4, right? So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, perfect. This is correct. Okay, so now that was pretty quick, but I'm not gonna spare you. Well, let's just go through and do it because I'm gonna do this anyway. And this is like part of what I do. Okay, so let's go through and just double check it. So we've got, this is what I like to do at this point, so it goes a little bit faster. Is I'll pull this up as a separate page like this, and then put it in a position that allows me to like see who it is and compare their rankings like this, right? So we've got this guy, he's got 140, 812, 327, and 2.2. Perfect. So I go back here, go up 1. O'Rourke 1.9, 1.53, and 100. Let's see, 21, because we're going by the U.S. ranking, remember? So we've got 21,205. Let's go back through. Next, Elizabeth Warren, 5077, 3, and 2.54. I just want to make sure that they're correct, right? So we got 1.6, 1.47, and 53,238. Let's go to the next. Next is Joe Biden. What's up, brother? 24,205, 210, 1.9. Bernie Sanders, boy. He's got 2, 1.8, 52.91. I apologize. This is probably super boring content to most people. Who is this? Amy. I apologize. This is probably super boring content to most people, but I just wanted to show the extent of what I'm doing and the effort that I'm putting into something like this and trying to really actually make it as accurate as possible. I want to show that that's what exactly I'm doing, and I'm not trying to put any agenda or propaganda behind what I'm doing. This is literally me trying to be as authentic as possible and showing exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm thinking about it. So as we went through these last bits here, I just checked and I did not find any errors. Today is a good day. Okay, so let's throw this up here. And so now we go through this ranking one more time. 1, we've got first. Number 2, look at that, Elizabeth Warren. Nice job. Who is number 3? It looks like he is number 3. Number 4. Number 5. We got 6, 7, 8, 9. So, what are you saying? So this is interesting. We've got, to round out the top 5, we've got Yang, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Amy. How is that possible? Amy. Nice job. Or no, who is this? Oh, Kamala Harris. I was like, how the fuck is Amy up there? Amy doesn't like show up on any of the data I'm looking at ever. Like Amy, Beto, and Julian barely show up on any of the things that I fucking look at. But I keep them in there because they're running. But basically, you could check like everybody else has like 2 to 3x what they have on any of the rankings when I look at the data. Remember, only do this if it's legal. I live in Massachusetts, by the way. Okay, so it is legal here. Just FYI. Okay, so this is the overall ranking. That is basically the extent of what I'll do. And then I get to go report on that. But another interesting thing that I like to do before I start reporting on anything is actually compare it to what I did before. So unfortunately, I didn't write it down, or I didn't actually think about going back to look when this was done. But this is also the preparation of what I do for these videos. I try to make sure that there's enough. Whoops. There we go. I try to make sure that as much, I want a lot to show up on the screen here. So that's what I website. Let's just call this one website, just to make, I want this to be able to show up even more data, because I think my head probably cuts off part of this. So that's why I wanted to do this and make these even smaller. So playing around with this is not actually the analysis, clearly, but it is part of what I do inevitably. I'm going to call this one US Pop, just so I can make this a little smaller. And that should probably be good in terms of the sizing of this, and I'll just double check it. Yeah, why isn't this shit going in? There we go. Okay, so I apologize. This is probably really fucking boring content. So now let's take a look here. So what I like to do is I will go here. Actually, let's place this placing. I'm going to call this 2. So we get to. Well, I'm going to pull up a chart here, and we'll be able to see. You'll see this the first time. It's the same exact time I'm seeing this as well. So we're going to pull up a chart here. The chart is just easier to look at to gather information. It pulls up a stock one here, but I like to change it to the horizontal one to see what it takes to look like. So we can see that Pete has lost a spot here. He went from 4th placing to placing 5th, right? And that indicated. So it looks like Kamala Harris has gained a couple spots. Another interesting, actually, I think a far more informative chart to take a look at is the difference and the delta in these. So what I like to do is I come over here, I'll grab this minus their current ranking to see if they've gained or lost. Pull that down, grab that and their names and insert another chart, because I think this one is a lot more telling about like who wins or who is moving up in the rankings and who is moving down. Because the overall ranking is important. Like, don't get me wrong, the overall placing I think is definitely important, but it's also important to understand the trend of like what's fucking actually happening, right? So we see here that like Kamala Harris has gained 2 spots, Amy's gained 1, Beto has gained 1, and then these 3 people lost. Joe, that's expected because the sentiment I feel around Joe as they do these videos doesn't seem super amazing. Or it just definitely, there's definitely an undertone of like people not taking him seriously, or like a joke about it, or like just not liking him, I guess, is the sense I'm getting from like an undertone a little bit. Pete lost some interest, but I feel like I kind of indicated that might have happened when I looked at some of the other data I was in the other research videos. Julian lost a spot, which is interesting because I would have actually thought that he gained based on his website ranking or based on his Google search volume and on his YouTube search volume, because I think both of those were up slightly, and he gained in both of those rankings. So that's interesting. I think the battery might be dead. So then what I like to do is I'll prepare for the video after this. So that's basically the entire, oh, and then here what I'll put most of the time is you do plus space minus, you have to put it in parentheses, otherwise the spreadsheet won't allow you to do it, and I think I do 14 and then put it into the center, and that's going to be, that'll be the extent of the analysis. And but everything is a little bit different depending on how you go through it. And the first time I did this, like I didn't have anything built or put up, right? As you can see down, I don't know if you can see it in the view here. No, I don't think you can. But down here at the bottom of the screen, I have tabs for every single one of these power factors, right? So if you want to look at the recapped version of this and see how it actually came out, check out the channel. Is the video before this one was uploaded. So don't forget to press that subscribe button. Also, I was 100% serious. If you know somebody in the media who they generally want content that is interesting, and they want to talk to somebody where they feel like they can have an advantage in terms of the information they're providing to their audience, I like to think. So if you know of anybody where sharing this content with them would benefit them, I would like to talk to more people about this and just show what I'm doing to more people. So that way it is a mutual win. Like, they get new content that nobody else is providing, and I'm able to get this message out to more people. So if you know of anybody, please reach out to me or have them reach out to me. Any one of the social is awesome, and it's me doing all that shit or whatever. So if you want to support the channel in a non-aggressive way, is that pressing that thumbs up button or just sharing this on one of your social helps out the channel tremendously for us to get this message out there about taking a different approach to understand what is going on with the American public that is more accurate and relevant than polling data ever could be. And that's what we're really trying to do here. So if you don't even want to do any of that, then just tell somebody about that message, because I think that needs to come more out of the darkness into an open conversation that we have, because it's not a conversation that we're going to be having today other than here, I've found on this channel. So anyways, appreciate you guys so much. Peace the fuck out.